I'll be on standby, be ready at the bottom of the hour, and Stan will pick it up at the top of the hour. So over to you, Mac, W4AX and 4OZI.
All right, N4OZI, W4AX. Hello, neighbor. Good to hear you, and you have a great signal tonight. And it's always great when conditions are pretty good. When one of you guys are transmitting, it's no problem at all. Running legal limit tonight, so I think I'll do okay on the net, and most folks will be able to hear what's going on. Just been working. I picked up I picked up 7 pieces, maybe 8 pieces from a silent key sale where we were helping out the widow, a bunch of Collins stuff, and I don't know, Alan, you can advise if it's worthwhile mentioning any of that on the buy swap sell, since none of it's really vintage AM gear. I guess the amplifiers could be considered AM. If it's not appropriate, no problem at all. KF4TXQ, W4AX.
Well, you're still sounding mighty good there, Mac, and I hope life's good in ball ground this afternoon as it has been usually. And you've been right about the weather, boys. Tore 40 meters up in terms of propagation today. I couldn't copy very well on 40 meters trying to check into south cars, but anyway, you know how it is. You just go with it. Do the best you can, and if propagation is again you're lost. You know, you can twist all the knobs you want to and patch in all the different antennas you want to, but if propagation's not conductive-wise, it's not going to do any good. But anyhow, okay. Well, I'm glad to know that, Alan. I'm glad. I was sitting over here trying to make out a chart, so I'll just desist from that, and we'll just smile and go over here and work on my project while I'm listening to the Samrc Net. Back over there to you, Alan, N4 OZI. And the group, KF4TXQ.
Okay, Sam and Mac. Yeah, this is N4OZI. Yeah, I don't think there'd be any problem with it, Mac. And I think I saw something on North Fulton's group. There was a couple of Collins gear, pieces of gear from a Silent Keys state sale that was for sale over there. KWM2s, I think, and stuff like that. Yeah, Sam, we have it this week. Last week I checked in on the Central Electronics 100V and the 75S1. That was a lot of fun. That's a nice pairing there. And working on some other stuff here. But you guys go ahead and carry on. I'm going to sit back here quietly in the background and monitor and go ahead and make a list as folks get on there. And if it starts to get a bit chaotic, I can come in there and go ahead and start the prenet. But right now I think we're fine. And I'm just working on some last-minute stuff here as well. And so let me toss it back up there to you, Mac, up there just north of me there. Sounding real good down here as always. Yeah, the band has not been kind the past few days. It has been rough. I think Monday or Sunday night or Monday night. No, it was Sunday night. It was when we had that storm come through. 160 was rough. This band wasn't too bad, but it's still rough. And in the mornings, it just was brutal. So, yeah, I know what you mean. Well, let's go ahead and carry on. I'll sit back and go ahead and start to collect names, and then if need be, I can go ahead and start the prenet if it gets a bit confusing. But right now, with just the 3 of us, or 4 of us really, it's no problem, and I'll just stand back and monitor. Go ahead, Mac. W4AX, the two get this thing throws the line.
WB4GWA.
All right. Hello, Dr. Ron. Thanks for joining us. Good to hear you. Let me write that down, because if I don't, I'll forget it. Hope you're doing well. And I'm running legal limit tonight. And, yeah, thanks, Alan. I'll list them if appropriate. But let's see. Yeah, the SB220 I listed on the North Fulton list, and all the Collins equipment I listed on the Collins reflector. So those were the things. You had a great signal last week on the Central Electronics rig, so you sounded really good. Well, Dr. Ron, what's going on up your way? And then you can pass it over to Sam, please. WB4GWA, WF4AX.
Yeah, okay, Mike. Just a tad low in frequency, but it'll drift on up, I think. W4AX, WB4G, WA Concord. Well, actually, I was outside with my wife planting flowers, and I looked at my watch, and I said, Sugar, it's net time. She said, well, go on in, and you can plant these flowers tomorrow. Now, that's an understanding wife, I'll tell you. But anyway, we're glad to be sort of spared from that. I've been planting all afternoon. So anyway, we'll do some more of that probably tomorrow. I think she went to the Pike Nurseries today and loaded up. Anyway, we're on the Ranger tonight, and listening, of course, on the 75A4. So, Alan, you were booming in here, and Mac, you're just to say booming is not quite right. It's more like about 4 or 5 bombs going off in here. You're loud and just filling the room up. And really good full-bodied audio. Sounds really good, Mac. Sam, how are you? KF4TXQ from Concord, WB4GWA.
Evening, Sam, W4KR.
Hello, Stan, and hello, Dr. Ron, and hello, everybody else. This is KF4TXQ, and we're just rocking along and just kind of keeping the band busy. You know how it is. But anyway, it's all on a lovely day at the end of March. So there you go. We'll just rock along and do the best we can with what we got. But anyway, everything's good here. I've been still kind of refining my lash ups and all that kind of stuff, trying to make sure everything's working as hope would have it. But anyway, you know how it is. And, you know, the design around here is fictional. Everything that I've got just about is experimental. And what I'll do is I'll borrow from established research and publicized theoretical treatises and so forth that I hope I'm getting it right, and then I do it enough so that I try to make it prove in practice to be worthy, to be significant, and I can't find the word I'm looking for. I do that a lot these days. I have to look for words. Sometimes they come up, sometimes they don't. Stan, go ahead and make one. W4KR. And the group, this is KF4TXQ.
No, all right, Sam. Good evening to you. WKF4TXQ and the gang, W4KR in Walhalla. Good evening, everybody. Glad to hear everybody tonight. I came down here got things running about the middle of Ron's transmission, though I don't know who all is here really. Oops, my foot got off the pedal. Let's see, what else do I know? Beautiful day here, partly cloudy, temperature in the mid-70s, and low humidity. So all is doing well. Not sure quite where to go with it. So let's see, Mac. Ron said you were a blasting signal, so pick it up. W4AX, W4KR.
All right, thank you, Stan. W4KR, W4AX. Well, just running my legal limit like I normally do. So thanks for the signal report. And Ron, you and Stan both sound great as well tonight. And your Rangers sounded really good, Dr. Ron. And you might mention to me when I pass to you, Dr. Ron, I know you're a professor. What you taught, I taught at the University of Washington for a number of years, and it would just be interesting to know what your expertise is, if you don't mind sharing that on the net. And around here, I've been doing a lot of cleaning and repairing of this silent key equipment that I picked up. And a KWM2A, a 30L1, an SB220, an R390A. And there's one piece I'm forgetting. What is that? I'll have to go in the other room and look, because I've forgotten what the other piece is, but I've got it all working. And I've not super cleaned it, nor have I super aligned it, but it's all working. That's about the best I can say. WB4GWA, W4AX.
Yeah, okay. W4AX, WB4GWA. Well, I had two distinct disciplines that I taught. I had a PhD in sociology, and so I taught demographics in ancient Near East history based on sociological research of the ancient Near East, Babylonians, and Mesopotamians, and all those kinds of folks. And then I have a second PhD in theology, and so I taught world religions as well. So I did dual discipline, and it was fun because it kept me from getting tired of one, and I could just go to the other. So doing the sociological stuff with the development of the ancient Near East, to me was just a lot of fun and very interesting, because that's pretty much the cradle of civilization when you start looking at the Babylonian Empire and Mesopotamia as a whole, and Ur of the Chaldees, and all of the other groups of people that lived in that area. And of course, it ties in theologically, because most all of those folks are kin to one another. They're all Semitic in nature, and so you have different tribes within that Semitic structure. And you have the various flavors of religious perspectives that they brought to the table. So, you know, it's all very interesting. And when you look at the fact that Israel spent time in captivity in Babylon and Assyria until Cyrus the king decided to let them all go home, you start understanding that mix is very complicated. So if you wonder about the ancient the Near East today, Iran, Iraq, and all those areas today, you have to go back and understand something about their roots, and then you start understanding that this is something that's never going to be cured, you might say, because they're all kinfolks, and you know how kinfolks are, especially around a family reunion or something like that. Cousins start arguing with cousins, and Aunt Susie gets mad at Aunt Eunice, and so you understand. But anyway, that's what I did. I spent 35 years in those disciplines. And let's see, Stan, good to hear you. Just to bring you up to date, Stan, oops, it's 6:30. I need to get off of here. I'll tell you when my time comes around. Alec, N4OZI, WB4GWA.
Okay, Dr. Ron. No problem. We'll go ahead and start the pre-net here. It's pretty quiet. Really, I've only heard the five of us on here, so it so far is pretty quiet. But we got you down, and we'll go ahead and start the pre-net. This is the Samrc Swap and Fellowship pre-net. I am N4OZI, Allen in Woodstock, Georgia. And so far, I've got Mac W4AX, Sam KF4GXQ, Ron WB4GWA, and of course Stan will be picking it up at the top of the hour. That's my order, and we'll take a standby and see if we can get additional check-ins. Any additional check-ins to the I'll get it right in a minute. SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net. Call now.
KA4AMI.
All right, we got you in there, Eddie. KA4AMI. Any other check-ins?
W4MA. K4BKC.
All right. Let me get this all written down. I got Bill just to the north of me there, W4MA, and I got Bob, K4BKC. Any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net? Come now.
Relay.
All right, I got Don. K4HFG. Go ahead, relay.
No, I didn't think you heard Don, but you picked him up just then. Go ahead.
All right, we got him in there. Yep, we got you in there, Don. Any other check-ins before we continue on? All right, so far so good. All right, we'll go up here to the top of the list there and go to Mac. N4OZI.
Okay, N4OZI, W4X, and thanks as always for running the pre-net and staying on. Thank you when it's your turn when you run the net. Copied everybody just fine. The band's okay, particularly when people are transmitting. Let's see, Dr. Ron, thanks for the explanation. That's great. Sociology and Near East history and theology. Those are wonderful disciplines. And I recall in my undergraduate work, one of my favorite courses that I took was, I think it was called Religions of the World or something like that. Goodness knows, it's been so many years ago. But one of the things we did besides studying the religion is we tried to go to as many different places of worship for each of those religions and experience the, how their religion was practiced in a service. And that was really interesting. And then I have a lot of sort of first-hand sand under the fingernails experience in Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. I retired as a colonel in the Army Rangers, and I spent far too much time in those areas, and as well as Yemen. And so a bunch of goat herders and sort of like going back to the 12th century. And I know what you mean about warring factions and families. Glad I'm not over there anymore. Back over to you, Helen. N4OZI, W4X.
So, I mean, have you ever tried this?
Okay, Mac. W4AX and the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net is N4OZI. Very good. Booming in signal as always. So let's continue down the list to Sam. KF4TXQ. How about some comments for the Pre-Net? N4OZI.
Okay, Alan, N4OZI and the pre-net, KF4TXQ returning. Well, I'll tell you what, it's still a beautiful afternoon, but the sky is a little bit hazy. The sun's shining through, but it's giving us buttermilk skies, and that's all right. Probably won't be any precipitation involved, but you know how that goes. Well, we've had a lot of precipitation. You should have seen the branch that runs down through the draw here, just east of the house. It was something. And my son-in-law and daughter got out one of these little fiberglass canoe things they got. It's a kayak, I guess. Anyway, they got at the foot of the waterfall and put in and then paddle all the way where the branch runs into Sandy Creek. So they had a grand time. But anyway, you can't do that very often. But I mean, there's a whole lot of water filled, and of course this place that I live on is blessed with water when it rains hard. There's no doubt about it. But fortunately, we don't have any difficulties getting across the branch now. Sambo has built some good concrete bridges and so forth, and that's working out well. But anyhow. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean about that, Dr. Ron. We used to tell a story about this camel that was trying to cross over into cross the Red Sea, and he was worried about it and so forth, and he started to swim across, and he noticed there was this scorpion crawling up on a stalk of grass growing there and everything. And the scorpion said, please, I'm going to drown with this water coming up. Said, you got to let me go across with you. Let me ride on your back. Camel said, I couldn't do that, man. Said you might have a fit, and then you might sting me and we both drown. And the camel said, well, you know, I'll think about it, but I'm not inclined in that direction. And so the scorpion keeps begging and begging and begging, and finally the scorpion talked to the camel and let him jump up. So the scorpion crawls up to the camel, got on his back and everything, and then pop, he stung him on the back right on his spine. And the camel said, now look what you've done. It's going to fulfill my prophecy. We're going to both die. And he said, what do you got to say about that? And the scorpion said, well, that's the Middle East for you. Back to you there, Alan. This is KF4TXQ with the prenet.
Yes, that's what.
Okay, Sam. KF4TXQ. And the prenet is Info OZI. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, this is Info OZI for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship prenet. Let's see if we can grab some more check-ins before we send it over to Dr. Ron. Any other check-ins? Come now.
Yes, that's what. W4OB.
All right, I got Ray in there. It was a double at the first. Try it again.
KO4SSY.
Okay. All right, got Billy, KO4SSY, and Art in for G.
Hello.
All right, we got you in there, Roy. R-I-D-D. All right. Over to you, Dr. Ron. And how about some comments for the prenet? I think you were going to give some information to Stan. WB4GWA, this is Info OZI.
Okay, Alan, N4OZI from WB4GWA, and hello to everybody who's checking in. Good to hear everybody tonight. And just to comment, Mac, I did that very same thing all throughout my teaching career. I took my students to different venues so that they'd have an opportunity to experience the different world religions that they were studying about. So, yeah, I did that. That was very helpful. Stan, just to let you know, I successfully color matched the panel on the NC300. I took it to a place that's got one of these machines, you know, where they can tell exactly what the color is and everything. And so, got the paint today. They mixed it over the weekend, and I sprayed it today on a test panel, and it's identical. So my next move will be to take your panel and bead blast it, get it nice and smooth, and then we'll put 2 or 3 coats of paint on it, and then re-letter it. So just to bring you up to date, that's where we are right now with it, and I think it's gonna look real good. Anyway, I don't have much else to add, so Alan, I'll go ahead and flip it back over to you, and just sit back and listen to all these good signals. N4OZI from WB4GWA in Concord.
Okay, Dr. Ron, WB4GWA. This is N4OZI in the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship prenet, and the Ranger sounds good. Sounds good over here. Got a good copy on you and doing well. All right, we'll go down here to Eddie and pick him up, and then we'll take another standby and see if we can pick up anybody else before we go to Bill. So, Eddie, how about some comments for the prenet? KA4AMI. This is N4OZI.
Okay, N4OZI. This is KA4AMI. Well, good evening, Alan. let's see, I heard Stan and Mac, Don, and Sam and Ron, and I think somebody else checked in. I didn't get everybody's name, but anyway, hello to everybody. Hadn't heard a bad signal. Actually, I have a little trouble copying Don lots of times. HFG down there, but he's coming in pretty good up here in Williamson tonight. We're kind of like, our weather's kind of like Sam's down. It's 71 degrees out there. And it's hazy up high, but the sun's still out, so it's trying to dry out. We just ducked that tornado. Well, kind of threatened Ron's house and mine too the other night, but other than both of us being up all night, we all survived. Other than a little water around the property, that's about it. But anyway, that's all we're dealing with here. Healthy and feeling good and all that kind of stuff. So glad to be here, and I know we got a few more people who need to get in, and we've got a few minutes before net starts. But anyway, good evening, everybody, and we'll send it back to you there, Alan. This is KA4AMI.
All right, Eddie. KA4AMI. It's N4OZI. Yeah, we were keeping an eye on things up here on Sunday night very closely. It was not really all that bad, surprisingly. I was ready just in case, but nothing came about really of any significance. It was kind of somewhat quiet. Somewhat. All right. We'll take a standby before we go to Bill. We'll take a standby and see if we can get additional check-ins. This is N4OZI. This is the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet. Any other check-ins? Come now.
November 4, Alpha Kilo, Alex.
W4GUZ.
W4OLJ.
All right. I got you in there, Glenn, N4AK. And Brandon, we got you in there, W4GUZ. And Virgil, W4OLJ. Any other check-ins? I'm not quite hearing any. If there are, just hang in there, and as conditions get better, we'll get you. I can see some faint carriers, but can't tell if they're checking in or if they're just coming in from the northeast. All right, let's go up the road a bit to Bill. How about some comments for the prenet, Bill? W4MA. This is N4OZI.
Ben was in there.
N4OZI from W4MA. Fine, Alan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the prenet. And looking forward to our gathering. And hear a couple of good signals in here, a couple of weak ones, but I'm glad everyone is here. And I hear guys talking about their training and so forth. Mine is likewise. As far as upbringing, I was raised such that I feel Alan, and once again, thanks again. Great to hear everyone. This is W4MA.
All right, Bill. W4MA. It's N4OZI. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Let me go ahead and pick up Virgil. Virgil had a relay. Go ahead, Virgil. Who was the relay?
It was Ben, W4CT.
Okay, Simmertown. We got you in there, Ben. All right. Any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet? Call now.
Stuff like that. And deduct electricity and in proportion to the home office business.
All right, I'm not quite hearing any yet, but we'll pick them up as we go. All right, let's head north to Columbia, Tennessee, to Bob, and then we'll try to pick up Don. K4BKC, how about some comments for the prenet? This is N4OZI.
N4OZI and the prenet. This is K4BKC. Well, good evening, Alan, and good evening, everyone that is assembled here. There's a bunch of really good AM signals. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Columbia. Clear blue skies and 61 degrees outside right now. Breezy, low humidity, and just a spring day. The dogwoods are blooming. So we're just thankful to be here. Running the 20V2 tonight and listening on the R390. I hope you copied me well. That's about all from here, Alan. N4OZI, K4BKC.
All right, very good, Bob. When the 20V2 is sounding good, as always, booming in down here, and have an excellent copy on you. All right, let me see if we can pick up Don, and then we'll take a standby for additional check-ins. So let's see if we can pick up Don first. K5HFG, how about your comments for the prenet? This is N4OZI. All right, very good, Don. K5HFG, this N4OZI, and the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet. Got a real good copy on you up here. It seems to be getting better and better as we get into the evening, which is what you'd expect, and it's absolutely doing just a fine job. All right, let's take another standby for check-ins, and then we'll pick up Ray, my neighbor just down the street. So let's see if we have any other check-ins before we go to him. Any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet? Come now. All right, I can hear somebody in there. Can somebody give me a relay on that one? Appreciate the relay there, Art. I could tell he was in there, but just couldn't quite pull him through. All right, so we got you in there, Tom. You'll be coming after Center Tap Bend. So with that, let's go down the road just a short ways to my neighbor and good friend Ray, W4OB. How about some comments for the prenet? This is N4OZI.
N4OZI. On beautiful Lake Cheerful. So you're sound, and thanks so much, Alan, for doing the prenet this evening. And a very good evening to all of the SAMRC prenet stations. You're all sounding good. I even heard you, Don, just fine over on Tick Ridge on my Mohawk. And I'm on the Apache. So let me send it back to you, Alan, and we'll try to get some more check-ins before the magic hour. N4OZI. This is W4OB.
All right, Ray. Very good signal. W4OB. This is N4OZI in the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet. We're going to go to Billy next. Pick Billy up, and then after that, we'll take another standby for check-ins before we go to Art. All right, Billy, KO4SSY. How about some comments for the prenet? This is N4OZI.
Well, good evening to you, Alan. Thank you for picking me up. N4OZI, KO4SSY returning. We just sitting here going through some kits that we got in. I got a capacitor kit for the NC183D, one for a SX129, and one for a 300. I'm talking to you tonight L-Mac, the L-47 that we installed quite a while back. Couldn't get nothing to happen on it. We've been fiddling with some of them. I've got usually 67s. I'm going to end up, I know I'm going to have 4, maybe 5. Probably need one, but this one here I bought sometime back. Anyways, I got into it and found where one of the legs was pushed down upon one of the other lugs there that should have been touching, and of course the modulation driver. Last night, so we're on the AF-67 this evening, just 50-watt radio. We won't keep rambling on. The other back over to you.
All right, very good, Billy. It sounded really good over here. KL4FM5. Doing good. Very good work on it. It's sounding good, and I've got a very good copy on you over here, so it sounded like you're well on your way with that. Before I pick up that, let's see if we can pick up some additional check-ins before we run down to Dustin. Any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net? Call now. Well, it looks like we got caught up, and that's always good, so we'll go down to you, Art. N4JK. This is N4OZI.
N4OZI from N4JK. Okay, well, we'll listen just a few minutes. I walked in the shack and selling the scorpion joke, which I really enjoyed. Well, I went around talking about the work with an NC300 some good color matching. That sounds like quite a good project. Tonight I'm running the first one for like 5,000 FVP. I'm sure glad to hear that Eddie and Ron looked the tornadoes. So like this. We've been watching for the past 3 days. Possible storms here. Nothing ever happened until this afternoon, and we got an inch. It just poured for a while, which is what we needed. The skies just starting to clear out, so we're real happy about that. Anyway, I say Ray, that's catchy. You have the audio set up to work. Really cutting through the stuff. Which rig you're running tonight? Really nice audio. Very pleasing to listen. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the work. N4OZI from N4JK.
Okay, Art. N4JK. It's N4OZI in the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Pre-Net. Yeah, we're on the Flex 6400. They're a faceless Flex, as I call it, and it's driving the new Ameritron. This is a new Ameritron we got about a month or two ago, and it's working out pretty good. We're in the process of trying to upgrade the 7300 setup with the RSPDX receiver, and using OmniRig to control the two, and it's working out real well. It's kind of a secondary system, and like I was telling you the other day, we redid the input PI network on the blue Ameritron. It was not cooperating very well, so we had to get Ameritron to send this little handful of parts. And let me tell you, those Ameritrons are not easy to work on, especially that PI input PI network. They don't make that very easy to service. Oh well. Anyway, we finally got it working though, but so far so good. We're keeping our fingers crossed here, but appreciate the comments. We'll take another quick standby before we go down to, let's see, Roy. Before we go down to Roy, I got the wrong name on here. Let me put this. This is Roy. I knew I looked at that call and I said, that's not right. His name is Roy. Before we go to Roy, let's take a standby, see if we have any other check-ins. Any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet? Call now.
W4CDJ.
All right, I got W4CDJ. Is that Dan?
Roger, roger. This is Don. Freezing in the spring here.
All right, got you, Dan, coming in from Indiana. All right, any other check-ins for the SAMRC Swap and Fellowship Prenet?
Yeah, on W4GUZ.
Yeah, I got you in there, Brandon. You'll be coming at 10. And right before Virgil. Got you in there. Any other check-ins?
Alan, I'm going to have to jump. I've got to hop in the shower and go to work tonight, so I'm just going to say hello right quick.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and make a transmission, and then we'll let you go. Go ahead.
Okay, Al. Hate to butt in like that, but got some sick and some out of town, and trying to stay up all night. I've been up since before the sun, so we'll see how that works out. It wasn't that hard when I was in my 20s and even my 30s, but these mid-40s might make for an interesting night and a lot of coffee. Been a dreary day here, low 50s, and it's rained off and on all day, which kind of put a damper to my plans, but I spent most of the day here in the shack working on the Johnson desk, trying to get it up on 10 meters, so we're making progress slowly and learning as we go. Thank you for what you do, and hope you have a good net tonight. I'll be listening on the SDR from work. And Billy, the LMAX sounds good and it looks good also. Didn't get a chance to get back with you. N4OZI and the Prenet W4GUZ. I'm on the Globe King 500. It's been on just about all day. Back to you.
All right, Brandon. Well, I'm glad we got you before you had to go. Yeah, it's good that you checked in there to let us know, so wanted to hear from you before you headed out. So the Globe King is sounding really good and got an excellent signal over here. And yeah, I know how that is. It's if you get up real early and then you're up all day, it's this time of evening you're pretty much wore out. And I know it was the way I was the other day. I got up at like 4, couldn't sleep, and came down here, and it was made for a long day, so we know how that is. All right, well, we're pretty much getting up close to the top of the hour here, and we have a pretty good list of check-ins, and we're going to go ahead and start to turn it over there to Stern, who will pick it up at the top of the hour. Certainly appreciate everybody helping out with the Prenet. Couldn't do it without you, and helping out with the relays. That certainly helps out quite a bit, because sometimes we just can't pick them all up. I'm going to go ahead and tie the ribbons on it here and get ready to hand it over to Stan. So here it comes, Stan. W4KR to take it. This is N4OZI.
Yeah, okay, Alan. Thank you. N4OZI, this is W4KR. Good evening, everybody. W4KR, Walhalla, suburban Walhalla, South Carolina. Look on QRZ, it says West Union, South Carolina, but that's just the post office box, because that's where the post office is. Anyway, this is W4KR, and we're going to begin right now, the Southeastern AM Radio Club weekly swap and fellowship net. We recognize and understand that 3885 is a pretty busy frequency, and we thank and invite folks who use this frequency to either join us or stand by for the next approximately 1 hour while members and friends on this 290-member organization congregate. Do that once a week on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Prenet begins at 6:30, as we know. We operate here, as I said, every Tuesday night, and The net's operated as a controlled net. If appreciate folks not breaking in mid-time. If something comes up and you've got a situation, let net control now, and we'll take it from there. As the net begins, we'll begin using the call sign for the club of W4AMI. We operate as a directed net, as I said before, and appreciate everybody who comes aboard and joins us here on Tuesday evening. Purpose of the net is to provide a forum for the buying, selling, or trading of vintage AM equipment and components. And I lost my space on. You can tell I'm reading this tonight, guys. I've been doing it by memory for a while, and I said, maybe I better try reading it tonight. The reason we're here is for fellowship and to buy, sell, and trade equipment. Any non-club non-members are certainly welcome. I'd be happy to have you with us. We urge you to take a look at our website at w4ami.org. It contains this historic information about the club, and including a list of members, upcoming gatherings and Hamfest, pictures of some beautiful restorations, and also a collection of member ham shacks. Part 97 rules are there, and along with a good operating guide. Members who wish to add material to the website, please contact our webmaster, WB4GWA, and you'll find Dr. Run's email address on QRZ.com. We'll begin the evening by asking if there are any stations who have anything to buy or sell or trade, or if you have a technical question, give me your call right now, please. This is W4AMI.
W4AX.
Okay, didn't hear anybody. So net control is gonna put in a want. I'm looking for the swinging choke that goes in a Collins 516 F2 power supply. I have to replace one. I'm working on one for a fella here, and the swinging choke, which is an 8 Henry choke, has gone. It's L2, I believe, is the number of it. It's either L2 or L3. If anybody has one, appreciate if you'd let me know. W4KR at ARRL.net. We'll get it going. Now, do we have anybody, before we begin the transmissions, do we have anyone, any late arrivers who did not get on the pre-net? Please come now.
K4 BKC for relay.
Yeah, who's that?
Got a listing over.
Wow, why didn't I hear him? Go ahead. Geez, thank you, Bob. Geez, that's a shocker, Mac, with the signal you have down here. I don't know how I missed you. W4AX, go ahead. W4AMI.
Okay, no problem, Stan. W4AMI. I hope I'm getting out okay. Running legal limit tonight, so it ought to be okay. Let's see. I picked up some equipment from a Silent Key this week, and I've gone through it all, cleaned it up a little bit, and powered it all on, done a couple of repairs, and so I'd like to list 4 items for sale in case anyone is interested. A KWM2A transceiver with a PM2 power supply, $500. A 30L1 amplifier, $500. A Collins manufactured R390A receiver, super buttery smooth tuning, $500. All 3 of those are $500 each. And an SB220 that's working perfectly. I put a new set of tubes in it from DX Engineering. Those just came in yesterday. And I've gone through it. All the voltages are right, $1,600. If you have it priced a set of tubes, they're $660. Thank you, Stan. W4AMI, W4AX.
Okay, Mac, sure did hear you. I may have come back too quick and doubled with you before. It's maybe what happened there, because yeah, you're 30 over 9. Okay, Mac has some Collins equipment. I trust anybody heard it. If they have a question, give them make mention during your transmission, or ship Mac an email. With that, we're going to begin transmissions. Begin fellowship transmissions, and as usual, I'm going to start with our hardworking club president, K4BKC. Go ahead, Bob. This is W4AMI.
W4AMI in the net. This is K4BKC. Well, good evening to you, Stan, and good evening to everyone. Well, I've not been working very hard this week. We had some roster rearrangements and new certificates to print, but got that all done. Well, it's just been spring weather here. We continue to ask for your thoughts and prayers with our members that are suffering from illness, and we had a tragic event here in Nashville, and yet another school shooting. We ask that you keep the families of those folks in your thoughts and prayers. Other than that, everything's moving along real well. Membership's growing, and we appreciate you checking out the website. If you'd like to become a member of the SAMRC, there's a form to fill out and send it in to Eddie Brown, the treasurer, and we'll get you on the roster and get your certificate in the mail. Thank you, Stan, for running the net. Thank you, Alan, for the pre-net. Thank you, Stan. W4A, K4BKC.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Bob, just a couple of points to fill out a little bit on something you mentioned. Boy, the people in the greater Nashville area who are served by the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department are really on the from what everything we've seen. And the way they handled that tragedy yesterday is just amazing. That's a highly dedicated group of public servants, and obviously very, very well trained, very well done under very tragic circumstances. Anyway, thank you, Bob. And speaking of folks who do a great job, our president keeps on chugging along, and we're growing, and he's a great fella. Bob and I communicate a lot, given this role, and we have a very helpful and supportive president, folks. We're really lucky. Next up is Sam, our vice president, KB4 or KX4TXQ. KB4TXQ. I'll get it the third time. Sam, go ahead. Pick it up. W4AMI.
W4AMI. In the SAMRC net, this is KF4TXQ, Sam in Alabama, Daveville, Alabama, where it's a beautiful day. We got 62 degrees. And we got those buttermilk skies, been buttermilk skies for a long time, but that's all right. I like them. And we don't have to worry about drought. We get plenty of rainfall here in Tallapoosa County, Alabama. But anyway, thanks a lot for picking me up, Stan. Appreciate what you do for the SAMRC and of course for the W4AMI nets. And I tell you, it's a good group. I enjoy being a member of it, and we just smile and go on and enjoy ham radio, and specifically AM radio. I'll tell you what, it's always been my love. I grew up in the 50s, and, that's about all we had was AM radio, even on broadcast band. And I used to listen to all that wonderful phase shift and selective fades and all that kind of stuff on the broadcast band, and it was fine. It wasn't perfect, but it was fine. And you can learn a lot about propagation, and you can learn a lot about the moods of propagation if you listen to AM. But anyway, thanks for doing this, Stan. Hope you and Miss Joan are doing well. And back to the king of Valhalla. This is W4KR. This is KF4TXQ. I'll get it out in a minute. Over.
Okay, Sam. This is W4AMI in the Southeastern AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Tuesday evening net. Sam, Miss Joan is down here listening and keeping me straight tonight, and she nodded and said, "Hello, Sam." So she's well. Hope Miss Mary is likewise. Next up is our trustee, club trustee, and webmaster, and all around great guy. One comment, Ron, I could add to your description, your professional description to Mac beforehand. The other characteristic of that particular part of the world that is your specialty is they always seem to get a little excitable, and that's, I guess, been going on for 3,000 years. Ain't gonna change much. WB4GWA, W4AMI.
You're right about that. W4AMI from WB4GWA. Well, hello, Stan and Joni. Good to hear you all tonight, and everybody else has checked in. I mean, really, really good signals, and copying everybody super well. I was out planting flowers with my wife, and about 6:15 came around, and I said, "Honey, the net's about to start." She gave me permission to cut and run. Now that's an understanding woman. I'll tell you what. Let me get away from planting flowers so I could come in here and jump into the net. So anyway, we're glad to be here. And Mac, that sounds like a lot of neat equipment there. And I didn't realize those tubes had gotten to be that expensive. Good gracious. Right. I guess I'll just have to use pulls if I need one. That's expensive stuff, that's for sure. But we just have to scrounge to get some of this old stuff working. That's what I'm doing right now, trying to find a noise limiter switch for Stan's NC303. They're just not to be had, and so we're sort of scrounging on that. But the AM signals go through that switch, and it has a single pole double throw switch on the back of it that connects the plate and the cathode, and that was bad, and so I've been trying to find that switch, and in the meantime I just gave up on that idea and got all my pots out and got a 100K pot and took it apart and took another couple of them apart and moved this spring and that latch over to that one and this one and made a switch. So if I don't find the original, at least I've got one that works that I made. So there's always a way to skin the cat, as you might say. But anyway, good to hear everybody tonight, and I hope y'all have a good rest of the week, and thanks for checking in, always. W4AMI, WB4GWA in Concord.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Oh, old Millie sounds good tonight. Ooh, good quality, good audio. Good, super good audio. Thanks, Dr. Ron. Thank you for what you're doing there, especially. We'll when the snow melts in North Dakota, we'll know whether there's an extra control or not. We'll see. Haven't heard. Guy promised he'll do what he can do when he can get to him. We'll see. Anyway, next up is our august treasurer, Mr. Super Eye Shade guy. K4AMI. Eddie, how you tonight? W4AMI. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got my cool shades on now, Dan. W4AMI. This is KA4AMI. Well, good evening, and thank you, Stan and Alan. And I hope everyone on the net's doing well this evening. We certainly are here. Let's see. I guess most everyone has had bad weather come through. And Sam, I was watching your area the other night when that tornado hit over near West Point. It was headed this way. Basically, stayed up all night long and hoping it would move on through. And we had some rough weather come through. It was nasty, I'll tell you that. But anyway, it's cleared up now, and like Sam was saying, pretty much buttermilk skies, a little clouds out there, but it's pretty pleasant evening, 71 degrees. It's about to get busy here too, because it's all this blooming and grass growing and pollen coming down, and there's a lot of outdoor activity fixing to come up for Williamson here. But anyway, we'll deal with it. Let's see, I don't have a whole lot tonight. Andy hears me well, TVS 50D, listening on HC 150. Little help from the SB 220 over there, and just having a good time. And that's about it. 7-3 to everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Have a safe week. W4AMI. This is KA4AMI.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Boy, good signal here tonight. In fact, everybody is. Eddie, you're running about 25 over. Real good. Good to hear you tonight. Thank you for everything you do, Eddie, keeping us on the road here. Okay, next up is our pre-net, our fantastic pre-net dude, N4OZI. Alan, your transmission. W4AMI listening.
All right, Stan. That means I got to slip you another 5. It's N4OZI. Oh, okay. Well, good evening, everybody. And band's getting better and better. It's still a little static, but as those storms move further away, the better it gets better and better. But yeah, earlier this week it was rough. Goodness. And it was, I think, on the Florida AM group was particularly tough. Well, I was able to pull them out, but goodness. Anyway, not much else going on here. Just looking forward to some lovely weather, and let's see. We'll see my friend Bill tomorrow there for lunch. That'd be great. Heading up to the mountains there, and looks like the weather will be nice for it. It's going to be a fun day for that. And other than that, just working on combining 275 A4s into one. Try to make a decent one out of the two. So that's the next project on the agenda. And then from there, we hope to get whatever comes out of that mess to pair up with the 32V3, and works out pretty good. Anyway, not much else to really say. Got quite a list in here, so I'll turn it back to you. And it's great to hear everybody, and certainly appreciate everybody's help on pre-net. Couldn't do it without you guys. So, W4AMI to take it. This is N4OZI.
Okay, Alan, super. Boy, you're loud tonight too. You do a good job, my friend. You do a great job. Let's see here. We're going to take one more transmission, which is going to be Mac, W4AX, and then we'll take a standby. W4AX. Go ahead, Mac. W4AMI. I wonder, is that KWM2A rounder wings? Mac, go ahead.
All right, W4EMI, W4X, thanks, Stan. It's a winged emblem, and it has the plug-in relays, and it has some Mars crystals in it. It's it's a nice rig. It works fine. It needs some cleaning, and probably needs an alignment and things. I didn't put a lot of time into it, not for selling it for that price. But it's a fine rig. Be glad to demonstrate it here or get it to you somehow, whatever works. And let's see, not much else other than I'm thankful none of our members were injured by the tornadoes this past week. It was kind of touch and go for everyone up here in this part of the country, and blessings to those people in Mississippi, and certainly blessings to the people in Tennessee yesterday. Just terrible. We've got to get better mental help for folks. And Brandon, I don't think you're listening anymore, but I'll contact you probably offline. I'd like to talk to you about your desk kilowatt. Still trying to help John VZS, and we talked on the phone today, thinking about making another trip back down to Pensacola. All right, thanks so much, Stan. W4AMI, W4AX.
Okay, Mac. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be in touch. I'll give you a ring, Mac. Do it that way. Okay, now let's take a standby. See if we have any latecomers that would want to get on the list. We got 18 folks here today, and let's shoot for number 19 and 20. W4AMI listening for any latecomers.
Whiskey 4, November. Tacoma, Georgia.
Okay, there were two. The second one was N4QH. Good evening to you. And who was the station just before him?
Whiskey 4, Yankee, November.
Okay, W4YN. Gotcha. Good evening to you. Welcome. Let's see here. Let's move on down the list. Next up is Don, K5HFG over in Tick Ridge. Don, how you copying all of us over here tonight? W4AMI listening for you.
W4AMI, this is K5HFG. Good evening, Stan. Stan, your signal has improved dramatically. Everybody is now being well received over here. The band just automatically settled down. I guess I complained enough that it's giving me a little off. Everybody's sounding good. Good signals tonight. I was sitting on the porch today. This is porch 6. I'm not sure what the temperature was. It was probably in the mid-70s. And I had my first combat with a red wasp. And that bugger got me twice, and he got away. I'll remember that when I'm spraying for him later in the spring. Anyway, that's about all that's going on over here. I'm recovering from, he got me twice. I can't believe he got me twice. But I couldn't get him off of me. So I'll get him. He'll be in the next batch that I spray. But that's about it. And thanks for picking me up. And thanks for doing the next, man. You do a great job. W4AMI. This is K5HFG on Tick Ridge.
Okay, thank you, Don. K5HFG, W4AMI. Who am I? W4AMI tonight. Don, I've noticed fairly regularly that between 15 and 20 minutes after the hour, the light, the switch flips and you jump about 10 dB. So there's just something about that time of the day that makes a difference. And that certainly was the case tonight. You were okay when you called in, but you were good and loud this time. Okay, let's move on. Next up is going to be Bill, W4AMA. W4MA. How are you this evening, sir? This W4AMI. Go ahead.
Yeah, W4AMI from W4MA. Good evening, Stan. I'm doing well, and I hope you are. It sounds like you are. You sound very nice. Very nice. I'm hearing a lot of pretty good signals on the air, some of them quite strong. I want to say hello to, and thank you to all the SAMRC guys, officers, and the guys that make it happen, that we're here and able to check in. Thank you, Alan. Also, for doing the pre-net. Very, very nice. Good band conditions, like I said just a moment ago. Pretty good signals. Nothing to buy, sell, or swap, but I like to hear about it, no doubt. I've got it narrowed down about what I need and what I want, but it's awfully nice to see guys go after it and so forth. Saying about the guys or the people up in Tennessee, it's very unfortunate, but I could go on about that. And my friends in Mississippi, I lived there in the 70s after I got out of the service, and lived between Columbus and Starkville at Mayhew Junction. Just east of Mayhew Junction is a fellow that checks in from, I think, Fish Ranch. I don't know where that is, but I got an idea, but I was also yesterday moved off of east of Mayhew Junction, but give you some idea if you're still listening there. Anyway, we're running a Johnson Ranger 1, and a Johnson Courier amplifier, about maybe 200 watts if I'm lucky. Not nowhere near legal limit, but hope I don't need it. Listening to everyone on the 7584, and just fortunate to be here, and great to hear everyone. Thank you again, Stan. W4AMI from W4MA.
Okay, Bill. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You know, Bill, that tragedy in Nashville is just so haunting. You know, it looks, watching some of the news coverage afterwards, that congregation, that school did all the things they were supposed to do, but was not to be. It's funny, we have one of these, and I don't mean to get preachy here, but we have one of these school things, and right away there are always a group of politicians that want to start yapping about gun control. How about fixing the mental health system here in the United States? Okay, enough of that. Billy, K04SSY, your transmission, sir. W4AMI.
W4AMI and the net. This is K04SSY returning. Well, thank you once again, Stan, for what you do and for picking me up. And it's good hearing you earlier today before I left the office. And I didn't jump in earlier, but I've got several items that would be for sale. I've got a couple DX100s, one with push to top, one without. A BMW 5100, not a B model, just a regular 5100. Probably going to have about 3 L-Max. I've got one of them spoken for, AF67. And I'm sitting here looking at a beautiful Henry AK Ultra with pre-selects. Several of those. It's a very, very nice piece. Anyways, I've got stuff that I need to chip on down the road. There's probably other stuff that I ain't even mentioned, but anyways, once again, thank you for picking me up, and good evening to all from beautiful Murphy, North Carolina. It's been a little bit no rain here today, thank goodness. We've been plenty. Overcast and it's supposed to get pretty cool tonight. So that back over to you, Stan. W4AMI K04SSY.
Okay, Billy. Thank you. Thanks for coming in tonight, Billy. Appreciate having you aboard here. Let's trip down to Florida for a transmission. Dustin, Mr. Dustin, N4JK. Art, how are you tonight? W4AMI. Go ahead, Art.
Hey there, Stan. This is N4JK. I'm doing pretty good. Kate and I we're running all over the place today, and we got a lot of things done. It's been a successful day. I will wave at Miss Joan. I hear she's in the shack. I'm glad you're under adult supervision again. And enjoying hearing you run the net. And I thought Alan's pre-net was just great. Lots of static tonight, but it is going away. We had storms here this afternoon bringing us much needed rain, but things are going east now. And noise is going down. Conditions are getting better. I want to wave at Lara in Fort QH, who I heard check in. He's a friend from way back, 40 years plus. He's like Alan in Fort OZI. Anyway, this is a mighty good place to hang out, Stan. I appreciate you calling the net, and thanks for picking me up. W4AMI from N4JK.
Okay, thank you, Art. Man, Art, you're 20 over. I was surprised when you came back. Man, you're rocking. You're rocking up here tonight. Good to hear you, and thanks for the update. Glad to hear that, my friend. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's go over North Georgia way. W4OB. Ray, how are you tonight? W4AMI.
W4AMI, this is W4OB. Well, a very good evening to you, Stan, and to all the SAMRC members. I've really enjoyed it. So, and tomorrow, Stan, I'm going to tackle the sub-chassis on the Helicopters SX-101A. This one is really to remove that chassis to get to the components underneath it. But I know there are at least 3 paper capacitors in that little chassis. So I'm going to do some surgery tomorrow. I think I figured out all the wires I have to unsolder and to allow me to get to that chassis. So that'll be fun tomorrow. But thanks for picking me up, Stan. And again, very good evening to everyone on the net this evening. So back to you, Stan. This is W4OB, Ray in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Okay, Ray. Forgot to mention before I turned it to you, I really like the audio in the Apache. It barks right out at you, which is great when you get a little bit of noise on the band. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Okay, we'll take one more transmission and then we'll do another standby for latecomers. Back to Florida. Roy, W4IDD, your transmission, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Stan. Good evening to you. W4AMI, this is W4IDDW in Pensacola. And we're running NC990 this evening with SB200, about 200 watts. And I hope you can hear this station okay. We're sitting here, thank God for SDR. I was having trouble hearing anybody until just a few minutes ago, and it was like somebody flipped a switch and I could hear everybody, so there you go. Anyway, it's good to be here. Just Billy Pond used to say on the Grand Ole Opry, howdy, I'm just so proud to be here. And it is good to be alive this evening, Stan, and enjoying ham radio at its finest. You don't get no better than AM, people, I'm going to tell you right now. Well, there you go. Let's see. I don't know, Stan, I don't have anything for the net, so I'm going to let you continue picking up stations. So I'll turn it back to you with this little statement. I hope everybody out there in Radio Land feels as good as I look this evening. Back to you, brother, from W4I, Little Pensacola.
All right, Roy. Well, hey, thank you, man. You're rocking in up here just like Art was. Wow. Wow, good thing. Yeah, I-10 is the I-10 corridor is open tonight. Wow, great. Thanks for joining us tonight, Roy. Really happy to have you with us. This is W4AMI, the Southeastern AM Radio Club Swap and Fellowship Net. Any late arrivers, come now, please.
WA4KM.
Got this crowd down there pretty bad because the grass is going. It's growing still.
Okay, we picked up two late arrivers, one straggler and one late arriver. WA4KM got you. Good evening, Kevin. And WB4KKJ. Good evening to you, sir. Good to have you tonight. Glad to have you with us tonight, Greg. Anybody else? Okay, no more, so we will carry on. Glenn, my neighbor, over to the east here a few miles, over in Pickens County, South Carolina. N4AK, your transmission, Glenn. This is W4AMI.
W4AMI, November 4 Alpha Kilo. So hello, neighbor. You got a good signal, and the net's running along. I'm copying everybody. It's around 66 degrees here. Today, a very nice day. I've been working some on 15 meters, been open, so I'm on the FC991A and a little 811H amplifier. Had a guy that was mobile in England, but he was a German ham. He had driven over towards London, and the under-channel tube where you now go under the channel and operated mobile, so that was a little unusual. Glad to hear N4QH Lyle over in Toccoa tonight. So thanks for doing the net for us, Stan. W4AMI, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
That trip under the English Channel is an interesting one, Glenn. This W4AMI. Last time we were over there visiting our son, he and I took a trip over into France for to make a booze run. There was some specific wine we were looking for, and the only place we could find it was over there. So over we went. Made half a day out of it. But thanks. Good to hear you. Let's see. Next up should be Brandon, but Brandon had to go to work, so we'll move on to number 15, who is Virgil, W4OLJ. Go ahead, Virgil.
W4AMI in the net. This is W4OLJ. Okay, Stan. Well, you're coming in good over here, as well as most everybody. Been a nice afternoon here in Sweetwater today. All morning up until lunchtime, it was trying to rain. Never did rain a lot, just drizzled around all morning. Then about lunchtime, it cleared off. The sun came out, and very nice afternoon. So we were glad for that. We're running the 41000 rig here tonight and the 75A4 receiver. Just plugging right along. That's about all we got, Stan, so I'll just sit back here and listen to the rest of the net and all these good signals. You're doing a great job as usual. And Ray, he was coming in good up here on his Apache, and Don out there in Tick Ridge, I was copying him real well. So things are good. Back to you, Stan. W4AMI, this W4OLJ in Sweetwater.
Okay, Virgil. Thank you, sir. Virgil, that trip that we talked about a couple weeks ago, that's gluing into place for probably about the third week in May. Looks like that's settling out as we had originally planned. Next up is Ben, W4CT. Come on in, Ben, and make your transmission. W4CT, this is W4AMI.
The witch doctor
W4CT?
Which one was it?
Okay, we'll come back a little bit later we'll come back a few minutes later for Ben. Tom, W9TAB, your transmission, go ahead.
Yeah, this is W9TAB to W4AMI. Thanks, Dan, for doing that, and I appreciate it. And thank you for doing the pre-mop. Art, thanks again for the relay. Ground conditions are pretty rough. There's a lot of static crashes here during the weather and all that, but I can pretty much hear everybody. Hope everybody can hear me. Good over here. Dan, appreciate it. And we got to say, hopefully the rain's going to move down. The band conditions are improving a little bit. So I talked about the Oncom 756 Pro 3 into Samrc AM Net. That's about it. And the SM20 test line. Okay, I'm going to hand it back to the Samrc Net, and I appreciate that again, Stan. Thanks a lot. Back to the net.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight, Dan. Tom, excuse me. Welcome. Next station is up to Indiana. W9CDJ. Dan, your transmission. Over.
Thank you, Stan. W4AMI. This is Whiskey 4, Charlie Delta Juliet. We are in Indiana, but we're not on call sign. Everyone's sounding good. I hope this thing's doing all right. Hope everyone can hear me. Well, it's 45 degrees here. It's supposed to be spring. We've got the blossoms blooming on the fruit trees and the frosts in the morning. Not going to be a good year, I don't think, for fruit, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm in the shack out back, the house. The tubes are glowing, and the heat's still on in my shack, so give you any idea, it's just dreary and humid. But that's okay, summer's coming, and then I can complain about it being hot. So anyway, other than that, Virgil, no need to talk to Howard. I found some of those adjustable resistors I'm looking for. So everything ought to be okay there. And other than that, good to be here. Thanks for letting me understand. Everybody sounding good. This is W4CDJ, back to net.
All right, W4CDJ. See, I moved you back to the fourth call area. Anyway, Dan. Anyway, good. Glad. Sounds like Howard came through like he has for many of us over the years. Wow, great. Let's see. W4YN, your transmission. This is W4AMI. Go ahead.
W4AMI, W4YN. Just checking out 102 that Mel just rebuilt for me. So I thought this would be a good place to check it out. Just barefoot, so I may not be making a whole lot of noise and a lot of static crashes here. So I'll turn it back to you guys. W4AMI, W4YN, over.
No, it's doing fine. Thing sounds good. Good quality. The audio. I was looking at your audio on the pan adapter, and it looks good. So you got a keeper there. Congrats, and keep it on a running. Next up is Lyle over here across the state, just over across the state line from us here. N4QH, W4AMI.
Yeah, real good. W4AMI and N4QH real good, Stan. An R4B, Drake R4B, and TX4B, about 70 watts right now. Glenn in there. Glenn, I'll catch you in about 15 minutes, and Art, good hearing you down there on the cloud. Otherwise, this is the first time I've checked in with the Drake B line here, Stan. W4AMI and the gang, and 4QH in Dakota, Georgia.
All right, okay, Lyle, doing good. The Drake is living up to its reputation. Sounds good tonight. Let's see here. You know what's interesting, Lyle? You know, we're what, maybe 50, maybe 20, 25 miles apart, something like that. And some nights I can barely copy it. We just, you know, the ground wave signals just aren't there. But what's interesting tonight, you're blasting through here, just like Don out in Tick Ridge, Alabama is, Mississippi is. It's interesting conditions tonight, and very, very good ones. Okay, next up, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear this guy. He's working on putting out a good signal, but well, what can you say? WA4KM, come on, Kevin. This is W4AMI. How you doing, friend?
Hey, good evening, Stan, to you and everybody on the net. We're on the ICOM 78, not the 7800, I'm sorry, the Kenwood 990 this evening, so, and the little solid state Ameritron ALS 600 doing about just 200 watts or so, and y'all were sounding good. I was running behind. I've been fooling around out here with my tiller, getting ready to, I plowed the garden one time. In great shape, by the way. Thanks for everybody for the last year for all the prayers. Back to about 95%. No aches, no pains. Doing good. Like I said, I was out plowing with a tiller, not on my tractor, but with a tiller. and it felt pretty good. So I changed the tires over. They were dry rotted, wouldn't hold air, so I ended up putting tubes in them, and boy, those things are stiff. They were a booger bear to get the tubes in those things. But anyway, got it in there and got it, the ground tore up. But I'll till it 2 or 3 more times and wait till after Good Friday to plant. So feeling good again. Like I said, thanks for all the prayers for me. And then the wife, she's off the walker from her back surgery with a cage in her back. And they don't do the rods no more. They do a cage. And she's doing good, and we're going to start traveling a little bit, hopefully this summer. Neither one of us get hurt again. The last 2 years have been rough, but we're doing great now, blessed. So anyway, I won't hold it. Good to hear everybody. There's so many in here. I won't even start to name them because I don't want to leave any out, but I've lost track of time when I was out there tilling, so I'm fixing to go jump in the shower. But better late than never. Stan, you're doing a great job on the net. Thank you, and for what you do. And Alan, thank you for doing the pre-net. Sorry I missed you, but the time, it seemed like it should have been darker, but you know how it is. I'm sure you do up there on Lake Cheerful. So anyway, back to you, Stan. Thanks again for picking me up, and I hope this old Kenwood sounds pretty good. It was just a quick thing. I didn't feel like firing up all the tubes and all this other stuff. So anyway, back to you. W4AMI, this is WA4KM, Villa Rica, Georgia, the city of gold.
Yeah. All right. All right, Kevin. Kevin, that 990 is impressive sounding. It really sounds good, and it looks good. It looks really, really squared out on the pan adapter. Very nice. The Kenwood boys came through again. Let's see. Next up, Greg, WB4KKJ, your transmission, over.
Good evening, Stan. W4AMI, WB4KKJ. You're sounding good. Your signal's coming up later as it gets in the evening there, Stan. Just on the Drake C line tonight. I had to turn the L4B on. But you're doing a good job, and appreciate you doing the net. I don't know if you heard Dennis. He tried to check in KW4ZZ up in Milton, Florida. So you might want to put him on your list there, see if you can wake him up there in the shack. So back to you, Stan. W4AMI, WB4KKJ.
Oh, okay. Okay, Greg, and thanks for the heads up. We'll give Dennis a call right now. Let's see if we can catch him. KW4ZZ, Dennis, come on in. W4AMI. KW4ZZ. Nope, don't hear him. Let me go back and see if Ben is back with us. W4 Charlie Tango. Ben, are you here? W4AMI.
Bottom of the band. So I've got a little bit of presence rise on the end, so he
can understand people's point of view.
Okay, Ben, gotcha. Good evening to you, and thank you for coming back, Ben. Ben, appreciate having you with us this evening. Thank you very much, sir. Be well. Okay, we're going to take another standby. We've gotten to the end of the list. We're going to take another standby before we shut things down tonight. W4AMI listening for any latecomers. Okay, did not hear a soul. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I've enjoyed doing the net tonight. It's one of the best sounding, or one of the best conditioned nights we've had in a long, long time, and really appreciate it. Again, as I said earlier, check out the website. It's a continuing, growing story. W4AMI.org. And again, Ron, amazing amount of time Ron puts in on that thing, and it's really it has really come alive over the last year. It's been great. This concludes tonight's SAMRC Net. Southeastern AM Radio Club will reconvene here next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6:30 for the free-net. Net control next week will be Sam, KF4TXQ, and Kevin, WA4KM will do the pre-net starting at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central Time. And again, to our friends in the Northeast, thank you so much for bearing with us as we did our net thing tonight. Really appreciate your cooperation. Good night, everybody. God bless. Take care. Lord willing, we'll see you all next week. This is W4AMI.